Shot! And a goal! Seattle has their first! All I gotta say is Portland can't say
He's a tough kid. Well, you can hem and haw all you like, but there simply is not a bigger rivalry in American soccer as Seattle Sounders FC make the trip down I-5 to take on the Portland Timbers here on Scuttlebutt Sims. Hello everyone, I'm Andrew Harvey alongside Jackson Feltz. And Jackson, I mean, this is what makes this league tick. Matches like this.
Yeah, Andrew, well said, and great to be with you here tonight. And there's a lot of things that I like about Poland. One of my best friends lives down here. There's a tiki bar on the east side of town. I've stumbled out of at 1 a.m. Many good parts of the city with beer, but everything around this stadium and everything around this team is terrible. It's ugly. It's gross. There's a reason why we call it what we do. This is going to be big tonight, Andrew. Cannot wait for this match to kick off.
Well, as always, Jackson, I thank you for your journalistic impartiality there. And this is just a big one. Sounders have been on an absolute roll lately, Jackson. They're taking on a Portland side that is just below the red line right now, and it's almost as though the league acknowledges that this is the marquee event of the season, really, to this point. It's the only match going on today.
Absolutely, Andrew. It's Sunday night game here, and we saw Sporting Kansas City win yesterday, 1-0, so they bumped right back above Seattle on the table. The chance for the Sounders to get back up here in the second place in the Western Conference as we look at Portland's lineup here.
Obviously, the brothers Chara will be forced to contend with in midfield, and of course, Diego Valeri, 5 goals on the season for him. He will be a man to watch. Absolutely. And that back line, though, I mean, we've looked at it many years in a row. They are vulnerable. That's where Seattle can attack them as we look at their starting lineup. The continued good health of this team, but not as good as we have had. Of course, Raul Ruiz-Diaz with the ACL sprain, he being out for likely the next month. Maybe he gets back to the 31st. We'll see. So Will Bruin, he had a good game last midweek on Wednesday against San Jose. What can he follow up with? We're about to see. We will see. We're underway. Sounders in their nightfall kits will move from right to left on your screen here in the first half. Once again, Andrew Harvey alongside Jackson Feltz for you here on Scuttlebutt Sims, and just thrilled to have you alongside us for what is the best rivalry in MLS, even if it is just within the simulation. Quick cross in from Valeri, broken up by Jovan Jones. Ball from Morera and caught by Fry. Well, Jackson, this Portland side, obviously, you have to give them some credit, even though I know it might kill you to do so. They've been a very successful team since coming into the league. Obviously, there were, maybe some doubts about their market, about their club, but they are tremendously well supported, and you can see that here at home.
You can, as Chara looks like he had a nice steal there and run down the side, but you know what, Portland, as much as I am irked, even just looking at their logo, as much as I'm sickened, you do have to respect what they've done. Diego Valeri, a good season so far with these 5 goals. Another couple of good opportunities here early in the match for them.
Corner kick broken up there. Comes back out to Chara. Of course, that's Diego. Brother Yimi out on the wing, lurking at the far end of the penalty area right now. This ball comes his way. This is Yimi Chara. Tackled away by Jones. Morris up for Lodero. Gone square for Christian Roldan. Jackson, how does this Sounders attack change with big Will Bruin in the lineup instead of the speed of Raul Ruiz-Diaz?
Yeah, Andrew, it changes a lot of ways because obviously you aren't going to be able to stretch the defense as much as you would with a much quicker Raul Ruiz-Diaz. And don't get me wrong, we're not talking about Usain Bolt at the top of the lineup for the Sounders, but it's still a much different player. Now, Will Bruin, a big-bodied guy, he's, I think, a little bit better of a passer, as we saw against San Jose on Wednesday. But what Will Bruin does gives you the ability to kind of play the way Brian Schmetzer almost likes to do more. Get out on the wings like Jordan Morris is right here, and then cross it in to a big-bodied Will Bruin. who can maybe get his head on a ball. We've seen it multiple times. Will Bruin being dangerous on set pieces. I think it makes Seattle better through the air, not as better in the run of play. So that's going to be a question for Seattle on how well they can execute goals in specifically offensive sets in the run of play going forward with Rui Diaz out for as long as he is, and hopefully he is back there maybe for the 31st against Real Salt Lake, but as we were talking right before the broadcast, probably looking at June 13th against Vancouver.
Yeah, just a real heart-in-your-throat moment against San Jose earlier this week. It was early into that game, only about 8 minutes in, that Rui Diaz went down with what we now know to be that ACL sprain. Quick cross in from the right side, and it's broken up once more. Portland Timbers taking the game to Seattle at their home ground here, Jackson, in the early goings.
You are seeing that. They're definitely on the front foot here, and the battle between Jovan Jones and Yimi Chara, the new man for Portland Timbers,
And it's been turned in there. Felipe Mora, the early goal for the home side. Sounders behind on the road, but it's a very, very clever finish on service in from Yimi Chara from the right side.
Yeah, we were just talking about Chara, and he beats Jones here, cutting inside, and then let's see what happens here. Yeah, just that's a really, really nice finish by Mora. You got to give credit where credit is due. You know, it looked like he was being marked quite all right there by, it looks like, Javier Arriaga. But at the end of the day, that's just a really nice foot on the ball. And, you know, for a Seattle team, you know, Sounders haven't lost this year so far. And they, as far as, you know, the time in the simulation, we haven't seen them go behind all that much. So this is a little bit of a different situation for the Sounders. Now, you're obviously in hostile territory here in Portland. How does this team react going down early in on the road here against a good Portland Timbers team that really, really is going to be fighting to get above that red line here tonight?
Think of this Sounders side inside the simulation, how they've responded to some adverse circumstances in recent fixtures. Obviously, starting that first simulation match against Vancouver, took a significant lead, gave it up, and then battled back for a 4-4 draw. Went down early against Real Salt Lake, fought their way back for a win. Here come the Sounders to the edge of the penalty area. It's Lodero. Cuts it back to Spencer. Wide now for Christian Roldan. Quick pass inside for Will Bruin. Pardon me, Jordan Morris has equalized in the 17th minute. A streaking pass up the left side. Joao Paulo, or at least some kind of simulation approximation of him, goes for a ride on Morris's back. Just take another look at this. Pardon me. Morris being held just onside there. Great work from our producer, Aaron Lingley, to get that angle. And Jordan Morris scoring against the bitter rivals. Who else but the homegrown kid?
Yeah, Andrew, we talked about Jordan Morris last week against San Jose and him needing to step up on the offensive end, especially higher, getting Jordan Morris maybe a little bit almost as if you played with two forwards with Will Bruin, because you do need to stretch the defense, as we just talked about. You do need a more fast player there to play alongside Will Bruin. That's when the offense for the Sounders really starts kicking into high gear. So if you have a guy like Jordan Morris and he sneaks in there at that back post on the left side to score that goal, that's what you want to see from this Sounders attack. And we were just talking about how they've responded to adversity this year here in the simulation, have the Sounders, and they do it again. And we see this Sounders team being able to come back from whether it's giving up a goal at an inopportune time, whether it's going down early in a match. And you know, this Sounders team, you know, they may not have Rui Diaz, but it certainly looks like the other players are knowing exactly how to pick up the pace in his absence. Sounders
talks about their desire for a quick response. They've got it just 4 minutes after conceding. We're level 1-1 here at Providence Park, or I believe, as the placard may have read at the beginning, East Point Stadium, which I have to say, actually, Jackson, from the broad shot we had at the start, the simulation has done a pretty decent job of simulating the architecture of Providence Park.
It did, yeah. That might be intentional by our wonderful producer, Aaron Lingley. But, yeah, we see then the crowd well represented here. I would love to see what the Sounders contingent looks like when we get a chance, and because they obviously, these fans travel so well down there to Portland every single year.
I'm curious to see if the simulation has decided to put the traveling contingent all in nightfall gear, or will they be in traditional Sounders colors? I don't know if the simulation has the capacity for that. Bruin takes a quick shot. That one tipped just wide by Clark.
Let's see.
Will Brun, maybe not as fast as Rui Diaz, but just as lethal if you give him any space.
I was wondering what more Will Brun could have done with that. That's still a great job to put that right on. Looks like it still would have probably hit the bar right there, the post, but at the same time, that's a chance for Will Brun. It sets up another good opportunity here off of Ladero's left foot.
Ladero, long lofted ball, looking for Paulo, won't get there. Controlled by Javier Arriaga. Jamar Gomez Andrade. Center back got the ball. He was too busy trying to get back into position on the back line. Paulo ahead for Morris, the return. Here's Svensson. Joao Paulo. Incisive ball from Morris there, but it's cut out and knocked away. Gonna stay in play. Here's Mora, the goal scorer from earlier. Christian Paredes. And Diego Valeri. A combination with Diego Chara. Cut away. Valeri, Jackson, one of the real interesting stories of this Portland Timbers side. Obviously, he's already a club legend for what he's accomplished with the club in his tenure there, but there was widespread belief to the point that Valeri himself even went up to the supporters section at the end of last season and said his goodbyes. But obviously, with the situation with Brian Fernandez not working out the way the Timbers had expected, they brought Valeri back.
Yeah, Brian Fernandez so troubled, and he has ruined his life about as much as it ruined the future plans of the Portland Timbers. And joking aside, what they've had to do to overcome that big loss in Brian Fernandez at the top, as we see the Sounders on another attack, and looks like that'll be offside on the rolled on. But as we've seen, what the Portland Timbers plans have changed, and obviously having to bring back Diego Valeri, and then I would argue overspending on Yimi Chara. When you look at the way Portland, went out and had to make a move there in this last offseason to overcome the loss of Brian Fernandez, for the age and for the quality and what you're getting, the price probably isn't the specific point for Chara, but as we see the Sounders and Jordan Morris again.
Attack doesn't come to anything. Sounders still working here. Spencen's pass cut out that time by Morera.
And Andrew, just
Chara scoops inside, gets the return, has a bit of space here, being closed down by Arriaga. Kevin Leerdam has it covered on the cross. Pardon me, Jackson.
Yeah, no, just to finish the point about Yimi Chara, we saw it there. I mean, he is an exceptional player. He has a lot of raw talent, but I'm not sure if he is just simply worth that price, Andrew. So we're going to see what he can do here this season for Portland. Diego Valeri here in the simulation. It's interesting to me. 5 goals on the year, but he's not inside the top 10 in terms of assists. So, it looks to me like Portland needs a goal scorer, and Diego Valeri is stepping up, but they need the other players to step up right with him, and they need Yimi Chara to be the man that they spent all that money on. And they've also added some other lower-level additions, and this Portland team, I think it's going to be an interesting to see how they continue to work this season as they build that chemistry amongst these new players, and how they look now compared to how they may look, say, in October, if they get there.
Bruin's attempted pass cut away by Portland. We're level here, 1-1 as we tick toward the 40-minute mark.
Been a quick half, Andrew, don't you think? It's felt very, very fast-paced, and both teams have exchanged their times being on the front foot. And for the Sounders, I think they're kind of holding that right now. If they can get a lead here at halftime, that would be big.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the characteristics of matches between these two clubs is no one ever holds anything back. You just kind of expect to go 80 miles an hour until you completely run out of gas.
That's well said.
Here's Brun back inside for Morris. Oh, well done by Svensson to turn that toward goal, but couldn't put it on target.
Looks like Svensson got a haircut in this last week from the simulation. I don't remember his hair being that, but he looks good in the simulation.
Big Swede. One of the real, I think, kind of renaissance men of the Sounders. Can do it all. Center back. He's played a bit of outside back in a pinch. Great as a holding midfielder. Ball up the left side here for Portland. Knocked away. And as he's shown a couple times, can score some pretty impressive goals as well.
He really is. There was a little bit of a belief, Andrew, small, that Gustav Svensson may have been gone after the 2019 season. Garth Lagerwey brings him back, and it's just so good to see because he can play so many different spots. And as we see Portland with a chance.
Stefan Fry, another massive save at the near post, flashes the hands here. Look at this quick ball to the inside. And just too much space for Portland to operate right now inside the penalty area.
There is. That's another dangerous chance here, and if we can see a couple more of that, you want to slowly see this 44th minute quickly get blown the final whistle for halftime, because as we've seen with Portland, these, and we were just talking about it, these exchanging of really good shots, they do just flip from one side to the other very quickly, and I would hate to see Portland get even better chances and get rolling here right before the half.
Sounders were looking to play on the break. Now they're going to find Morris down the left side. Can he catch up to that ball? He does so and does well. Morris drops it back for Jones. Jones' cross blocked right away by Yimi Chara. 3 minutes of added time is what we'll play here in the first half. Level 1-1. Nico Lodero cuts to his left, looking for space for a shot. Goes wide for Morris. The return. Now back for Svensson. Sounders more interested in passing than shooting at the moment. Here's Jovan Jones. Jones' cross, looking to the inside, punched away by Clark. Morris wins an unlikely free kick there, Jackson. I know we're both specifically broadcasting the Sounders, but it looked to me that Morris was the one who lunged in there.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Andrew. That's a fantastic call, and Nico Lodero, how precise he is on these free kicks. This is where we talked about Will Bruin on set pieces. This is where Bruin can step up, get his head on this ball, and maybe try to give the Sounders a lead here going into halftime.
It's a long one, 33 yards out. Lodero curls it toward goal, puts it on frame, but no real venom behind it.
I would have thought that would probably might have been a better chance to be able to get that on ahead of somebody. But listen, it's 1-1. Good response to Portland's early goal. I like what the Sounders have done so far. They're exchanging, jabs here. We'll see what the haymakers give us in the second half.
It's been an action-packed first 45 here on Scuttlebutt Sims. We go to the break 1-1 between the Portland Timbers and Seattle Sounders FC. We'll take a break. Let's throw it back to Aaron Lingley in the studio, who has a look at the other action around Major League Soccer.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and welcome to Across the MLS for your halftime break. Now, this is the Simulation European Lager Rivalry Week, so I'd be remiss not to show you the highlights from the El Trafico off the 110 here. Now you have Latif Blessing gifting Mark-Anthony Kaye this low cross that he absolutely crushes on a first-time goal. Now it's in the first half. Now you expect LAFC, after a record-breaking year last year, to really own this league, but in fact, it takes Jonathan Dos Santos in the 88th minute to equalize. So despite their wonderful defense this year, LAFC is struggling to score goals. LAFC stays alive. Another great matchup here. Now Colorado, you might remember if you watched the Sounders game last week, were undefeated, just like the Sounders going into CenturyLink. Now they lost, and they come to New York, and they already give up a golden Tinnerholm right there. Now Colorado, for all their scoring prowess, are facing a team that's only given up 3 goals, including this one coming up right here. Look at that curler, Benazet right there. So he equalizes. Now, Sounders are really hoping for one more goal from New York City FC. Is it going to come? Absolutely it does. Near the end of the game, again, another shocker on Rivalry Week here. Boom. NYFC with the upset. Now they're actually on the good side of the red line in the Eastern Conference, but like I said, it's just their defense keeping them alive. Now here's another shocker, but coming from the different side of the spectrum. RSL, Real Salt Lake, or in this case Real Salt Lake, because we are in the simulation. Guess who scores his second goal of the season? That is Justin Miram. Longtime vet, gets the goal, and can RSL hold on to this for the win? San Jose rips it wonderful save in the 90th minute to keep their first win hopes alive. Now, before we head back to Providence and take a look at the table, as it pertains to our viewers right now, we got Seattle Sounders at number 4, still remain unbeaten if results hold, with the Portland Timbers at number 12 in the middle of the peloton. Seattle is the highest scoring team in the league at 24 goals. Now, what does that all mean in the Cascadia Cup standings? Well, actually, Portland, with these results, would be leading those right now with 4 points. They did beat Vancouver back on April 25th, 4-3. Now let's see how the end of this match goes. Back to you guys at Providence.
We are back underway here in the second half. Sounders tied 1-1 with Portland Timbers FC here on Scuttlebutt Sims. Andrew Harvey, Jackson Feltz for you on the call.
Andrew, there was a good response by Seattle to Portland's goal there at the start of the first half, an early goal for the Timbers, and for a Seattle team that has not lost this season.
Here's Svensson. He likes his chances from this distance. You see the frustration there. He usually puts those away. Perhaps a little bit uncharacteristically for a holding mid. Couldn't put that one on target, though, Jackson.
Yeah, we talked about it in the first half and how he likes that, and that one just barely off. But I like the aggressiveness of Seattle here to start the second half. They've been very, very good. I think every single match we've done, Andrew, has had this team come out kicking at the start of the second half and really playing fast-paced on the front foot, going for goals. And I would love to go back, and I wish I had done this statistic and seen how many goals they've scored, say, in the first 10 minutes of these second halves. But we're seeing that here again to start this second half, and the way that Seattle is kind of passing here in the final third and getting these chances here. If they can do it again and put another one up and go on the lead in Portland, this would be a major, major set here for Seattle.
Roldan scoops inside. Here's Svensson. Svensson combining with Paolo. It's tackled away. Iris Mabiala, the man who got it off of him. Go to Villafana. Jackson, matches between these two clubs, we alluded to it in the first half, but they're oftentimes a bit like a boxing match in a broom closet. I don't know whether it's out of pride or necessity, but neither club ever gives an inch, do they?
That's exactly right. I mean, we talked a little bit about it as well, in the sense that it's just you exchange haymaker after haymaker after haymaker, and you wait for what is going to be a blow that sends them to the floor. And both teams exchanged that in the first half, but with this already being a game that's seen goals, I expect this second half to be a little bit even more wild and back and forth. And this could be a very, very quick second half as well. It felt a very, very fast first half in just the style of play and how fast it feels like it's going. So this is a rivalry match unlike any other in the United States. And this is probably the best you're going to see it outside of playoffs. And we remember everything that happened in 2018, sadly. But this is going to be, I think, the next 35 minutes are going to be a lot of fun.
Benson got wide here. Lodero puts it straight back to Morris. Morris drives that ball in. Active today. So in terms of collecting crosses than making saves, but it's still an equally important task for a goalkeeper.
It is. I like that cross from Jordan Morris, so obviously trying to reach Will Bruin's big body and his head there. So good on those balls there in the box. And I like the Sounders when they continue to do that and try to reach Will Bruin, because that's where he's best. He isn't the Rudy Diaz type of striker. He's the guy that you want to just get the ball in his area, in the air, and see what he can do with it. So if they keep doing what Jordan Morris just
Here's
did.
Valeri for a quick cross, broken up by Jamar Gomez-Andrade. Turned further wide by Lodero. Pardon me, Jackson.
No, yeah, I like what Seattle was doing. Just got to keep doing this. And now here's Portland's chance to send a few jabs forward in this boxing match.
And we're ticking toward the hour mark at this point. To our knowledge, still no changes. I need to note the simulation does not always actually notify us when a change is made.
We saw Alex Roldan enter the match last week for 21 minutes. Didn't catch that, but it'll be interesting to see what Brian Spencer does here in the last 30 minutes of this match, given the way it's gone so far.
Here's Blanco, his cross from the left side, broken up once more by Gomez-Andrade.
He's been good today.
Herrera tracks it down. Looking for space. Morris in defense. Crossed in, was looking for the head of Diego Valeri. It's another big breakup by the huge center back, Gomez Andrade.
Yeah, we were just mentioning him. We'll talk about him again. Gomez Andrade, just the pairing with him and Arriaga, the big-bodied center back and the more athletic one, and this has been Jamal Gomez Andrade day, and he is just dominated on the defensive end.
Valeri's chance to serve now with this outswinging corner. Seattle first to it. Comes back to Chara. Zaparic. Zaparic is getting hemmed in at the corner. Long cross there, looking for Yimi Chara. Held in by Morera. Yimi Chara. Timbers looking for space to break through. Seemed like almost a bit of an argument between the two players about which player was meant to take the ball there. No, you have it. No, you have it.
And then Jordan Morris comes in and says, no, I'll have it. Now it's a chance for Seattle to, I think, slow it down for a minute. Don't let Portland out. Well, that didn't work out.
Chara up the far side, pulls it back against Jovan Jones. Looping ball, Valeri. Chara's cross to the back post. Blanco, heroic effort just to get to that ball. And now, on delay, we'll see a yellow card given to Christian Paredes for that crunching tackle along the far side. It's not really a Seattle-Portland match until you get at least one of those, Jackson.
Yeah, I believe that's the first card here today. And if you had told me at the start of this match that we were going to wait till the 68th minute to see the first card, I would have bet all my money on you being wrong. But it is good to see, and a little bit, the simulation obviously doesn't factor in the Diego Chara, physical factor and just how terrible his fouls can be at times. But we are starting to see that pick up, and I think we'll definitely see that pick up here in the last 20 minutes as these teams continue to just exchange these, flows where it feels like there's just waves going, and you'll have one team give a wave, another team give a wave, and we're just waiting for one of these to finally turn into a goal here. Let's see if Seattle, I think we were talking about before that giveaway the last time, just being patient on the ball, taking back momentum, making sure that Portland's wave has now been completed.
Sounders venture downfield for the first time in a while. Joao Paulo, service out wide. Morris's cross blocked right away by Morera. Portland looking to play quickly on the break. Into space now for Yimi Chara. He's got Jovan Jones beat. Yimi Chara down the right side. His cross punched away by Fry, only as far as Valeri at the top of the box. Turned wide by Joao Paulo, and Lodero goes out wide from Morris. Now it'll be the Sounders' turn to try to play on the break.
Here we go, Andrew. Now we're going to get real open. About 18 minutes left in this match. This thing's going to open up a lot here in the last little bit.
Paredes. Yimi Chara. Lodero puts a foot in. Lodero all over Christian Paredes, but Paredes still manages to get free. And the offside flag has gone up. Jordi Delem going to come on for Joao Paulo here. Jackson, an offensive or defensive-minded move for you?
Definitely defensive, and it's an interesting move here, Andrew. I'd love to get the take of Brian Schmetzer after this game, because this feels like a move that the Sounders are very content ending this match 1-1. And I would guess I would ask why. If we're seeing this match be so open right now, that maybe that doesn't make Brian Schmetzer and his coaching staff comfortable, but looking at the way the Sounders' offense have worked when games have opened up in the simulation so far this year, I would tend to think that they would like the way that this match is rolling. But maybe it's more about the opponent than anything else, knowing the way Portland plays at home and just being ready for what they're going to throw at you in the final 15.
Chara inside for Blanco. He's got options. Valeri point blank, and Fry turns him away.
What a save by Stefan Fry. Big moments, big games. That is exactly what you'd expect from number 24.
Well, it's a massive stave at any moment in the match, but particularly at this stage, the late goings, level 1-1. Stefan Fry, once again, defying almost the laws of gravity to keep that ball out of the net.
Just enough.
Through ball here. It's Jovan Jones. Jones with some options. Jones inside for Will Bruin. Point blank, and it's saved by Clark.
Back and forth, Andrew. We are going back and forth right now. Great save by 5. Great save. They're going to, was that offside there on Will Bruin? They're going to say it just barely, but look at this save by Stefan Fry. Just point blank range, as you mentioned. Both of these goalkeepers coming up huge here to keep this level here late in this match.
82nd minute now. Long through ball, Yumi Chara. Chara toward the byline, scoops it inside, and Portland climbs on top 2-1. Felipe Mora has his second of the match. And just too much space for Yumi Chara out on the perimeter.
And you see there, he just splits the defenders. Jovan Jones is beat. Jamar Gomez-Andrade, forced to kind of pick up the slack there. We see the divide between Arriaga and Jamar Gomez-Andrade. That allows the space for Felipe Mora. And with the brace for today's game, and just now 8 minutes in stoppage remaining. Now we're going to once again see the exact thing we talked about in the first half, how the Sounders respond. They, again, do not have a loss yet this season, and they've been so good when the other team scores a goal. So how they pick up on that without Joao Paulo on the field as well, that's an interesting player not available for Brian Schmitzer's squad. So how the Sounders respond here in the last few minutes, this is concerning. But yeah, throw everything forward. We saw it a couple of years ago. Roman Torres even got out on the wing and had an assist to Clint Dempsey that ended 2-2 a couple of years ago.
So to Lem for Bruin. Bruin fires and scores! The Sounders have equalized in the 85th.
How about that, Will Bruin? There you go. Give us the thumbs up, Will. 2-2. That is, again, how this team responds to adversity whenever they have been faced it here so far this year. And nice ball there from Jordy Delem. Way too much space the Portland defense is allowing Will Bruin. That is about as good of a opportunity as Will Bruin's going to see while he's taking over for Raul Ruidiaz. And you would hope that he puts that exactly how he did. Really good job by both those guys to connect. Jordy Delem on the offensive end. How about him getting an assist? You won't see too many on the stat sheet so far by the end of this year. And as we talked about a few minutes ago, this match only going to open up even more. Look at this sub, Andrew, though.
Tomas Konechny checking in for Diego Valeri. And that, Jackson, for me, that's news from Gio Savarese that he's had enough and he'll be content to settle for a draw.
That exactly is. We thought Brian was that point at 1-1. That's a very, very odd sub there in a match that has been so wide open in the last 20 minutes or so that Savarese would take out his superstar Valeri. You wonder if even a message is being sent that we don't know about.
Christian Roldan, Sounders, Timbers, still plenty to play for over these last 2 minutes plus. Blanco, lots of space for Blanco. Blanco cuts it back inside, turn toward goal, and Jamar Gomez-Andrade. Another massive clearance. That one not on the goal line, but was bound for it.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 3 minutes of added time.
And with respect to the man who has the brace, Felipe Mora, for Portland, Jamar Gomez-Andrade has been the best player on the field all day. The way he has broken up almost every single chance that Poland has had, other than those 2 goals.
3 minutes of stoppage time here at the end of the second half. Jordy Delem has 1 assist, gone over the top. Christian Roldan, the goal there, I believe, was offside. Has some words to the assistant referee, but the simulation, Jackson, never wrong, as you can see here.
Yeah, that's even I, who believe that all refs are always against Seattle. That's clearly offside there. Just a few seconds remaining. Seattle tied Vancouver, the one Cascadia Cup match here so far this year. Will this also end as a draw?
And it shall. One last touch at midfield. And it's a classic Sounders-Timbers affair. There are villains and there are plenty of heroes on both sides. And for Seattle, you have to imagine that Will Bruin is the biggest hero of all, an 85th minute equalizer when it looked like Seattle was bound for its first loss of the season.
Absolutely, and we're going to see Portland's goal here, and this was just a nice ball, a nice touch there. A good job by Felipe Mora putting that in, but the way that Seattle responded to both of Portland's goals today, and we're going to see Seattle's goal here in just a moment, the way that they reacted to it and scored themselves and didn't rush anything, but just found these right passes. I mean, just perfect balls there, and Jordan Morris there with that finish, and Will Bruin there, as we talked about. Think about Will Bruin's week. You have Raul Ruidiaz go out early in that San Jose match midweek, and then he has to jump in. He has a great game against San Jose. Remember that beautiful assist to Nico Ladero? He nearly scored on that one here tonight. But then you have him come out tonight and score again. I mean, I was concerned initially when Raul Ruidiaz went down how this offense was going to function, how it was going to look. Wow, the Sounders striker is out 8 goals on the year. You're missing that. But he has been fantastic, and look forward to seeing it going forward as we look at what's coming up for the Sounders. And you have Sporting Kansas City coming up next Saturday at Children's Mercy Park. I mean, I expect this Will Bruin to train to keep on rolling.
Again, it's a big point for Seattle on the road. Honors even in another fierce Cascadia Cup clash. And as you mentioned, Jackson, Sounders back in action against Sporting Kansas City on the road next Saturday. We will have that match for you here. One last look at Will Bruin's massive equalizer in the late goings. Well, that'll do it. Final score, Timbers 2, Sounders 2. Thank you for joining us here on Scuttlebutt Sims. For all of us, including our producer, Aaron Lingley, and my co-host, Jackson Feltz, I'm Andrew Harvey saying so long, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Stay safe, everybody.